Hello racing fans, and a warm welcome to Trackside, proudly brought to you by World Sports Betting. Bet with the best, bet with WSB. Well, it is the weekend, and of course we are looking forward to what's happening locally, and it is action on Saturday at Kenilworth and Turffontein, and then we move along to Greyville on Sunday. So it's bumper racing, 3 meetings over the weekend, and some high quality racing as well. If you look at the Turffontein card, well, you will see there's some classy horses that will be returning for the season, as well as Kenilworth as well. So what are we doing for this Trackside weekend show? Well, it is simple. I picked out 5 horses, 3 at Turffontein, 1 at Kenilworth and 1 at Greyville, and I really like all 5 horses, I must say. So without further ado, let's begin. Away we go with our 5 horses for the weekend. We'll begin in race number 1 at Turffontein, and I'm going with the Fostinova, who is trained by Jan Janssen van Vieren, will be partnered by Gavin Larina, and here's an individual who put in a promising introduction to his career, and he was punted to start favourite as well, even money, and he just found one better on the day. He was beaten by a horse called Rule by Force, who slipped under the radar from the Joey Somerjala because he went off at 40-1, but won a good race. And since then, Rule by Force has come out to run decent second out the maidens, carrying 60 kgs. I think he was beaten by After Hours, but nevertheless he ran a very good run out the maidens. That was Rule by Force, but that form line has seen Don't Tell Ash come out to win. And then for Stenova, the next start, well, the stable decided he qualifies for the Bloodstock South Africa Sales Cup, and although he's a maiden taking on winners in a competitive field, let's take our chance. And considering the company that he raced again in that post maiden, in that second start of his, I thought it was a fair run. Yep, he was somewhere behind the front runners, but nevertheless, he gave it a bash, and here he is back in maiden company. And when you have a look at the opposition that he takes on in this field, I think back in maiden company, back over the shorter distance as well, he looks really hard to oppose. And I say whatever beats him wins. I think he'll get punters off to a flying start, those that enjoy backing the top one. I think this is where it'll all begin for you. Race number 1, horse number 7, Fostinova. Then we move along to race number 3. Now in the third race, this is a graduation plate. It's over 1400 meters, and it's a small field that go to post, just 6 runners at the time of recording, but a horse that had a wonderful 2-year-old career is number 1, Quantum Theory. How many starts as a 2-year-old? Well, 4 runs as a 2-year-old, finishing second to a subsequent Group 1 winner on debut behind Thunderstruck, then back-to-back wins. And then the last race of the season for the 2-year-olds, that was the Group 1 Premier's Champion Stakes, and what a run from him. You know, Cousin Casey is a superb racehorse. He was crowned Equus Champion Juvenile, but this horse ran his heart out. He was only beaten 2.5 lengths back in third, and that was a wonderful 2-year-old career for him. He started off his engine for this season at the beginning of October, and it was over 1450 meters, and considering the draw that he had on the inside track, he was just dropped out by jockey Diego de Gavea, left towards the back of the field, and he was the horse that really caught the eye. 400 to finish, he was motoring. 21.6 seconds is the time that he finished that in, and he was just beaten by one horse, which was Profit. That run is certain to have brought him on a ton, and he looks like a very exciting horse for the season. And with that last start, just natural improvement now that he's having his second run as a 3-year-old. I think again, when you look at the opposition, there's some strong form around him, but there's quality stamped all over this individual, number 1, Quantum Theory. And I think with that last start, the way he was finishing, I think it'll take a good one to beat him here. Race 3, number 1, Quantum Theory. Then we move along to race number 4, and we're staying with Turffontein, and this is over 1800 meters. Well, in this race, if you can recall, I did go for this horse on Trackside before, called Meridius. Ashley Fortune's runner, and it was all in with him for Trackside that day, and he just found one better on the day. He was beaten, yeah, we'll take it on the chin. He was beaten by Fast Love, but the way he was finishing off that race over 14.50 and the way he won over a mile when shedding the maiden, I think this is the smart move by the yard. He is now going over 1800 meters, and personally I feel, having watched him over slightly shorter, he's going to relish the extra distance here, Meridius. And again, there is some form to go around, but there'll be no excuses this time around. He was gelded on the 11th of August, so he's having his third run back from gelding. He's going over a distance that I feel will suit him much better than a mile and 14.50. And again, I'm hoping that he can make amends for costing us last time out a number 2 Meridius. So he's going to be the third of the 3 runners at Turffontein. And then I just picked out the 1 runner at Kenilworth, and I mentioned there are horses that we'll be, keeping a very close eye on at both centres. But here at Kenilworth, in this race that I picked out, which is the Cape Mile at Group 3, it's Golden Decat and Rascallion, and in the previous race I think it's Bulgarian as well. Yeah, this horse, Jet Dark, Justin Snaith and Richard Fourie, well, what a wonderful last season he had. It all started off when he won the Queen's Plate. Then he went on to finish second in the World Sports Betting, met behind Comet Titan. And then towards the end of last season, wow, this horse ran his heart out in the Gold Challenge. He ran third behind Al Mutana. In the July, of course, both the Gold Challenge and the July sponsored by Hollywood Bets, he ran second to Sparkling Water, and then he ended off the season with a high, winning the Champions Cup. He was crowned last season's Equus Champion Miler, Equus Champion Older Horse, and Equus Champion Middle Distance Stayer. So he's a champion, number 4, Jet Dark, and he'll be getting things off for this season in this mile, which is Group 3. Yep, it's Group 3, this Cape Mile. And although, we know, let's put it this way, we know and we understand that this is where he'll be starting off his campaign for the season, and they have all these bigger races in mind for him. But I think even if he's 75% ready for this race, he should blow this field away. He's an absolute star, number 4, Jet Dark. I expect him to be priced up in the red when I have a look at the field he's taking on, and he'll win. He'll win. Race number 8 in Cape Town on Saturday. And then just the 1 horse at Greyville on Sunday before we wrap things up, and this is race number 3. It's a maiden plate for fillies and mares over 1400 meters. And before I even touch on this horse, I'll tell you, if all these other runners have won, I'm very confident that this horse will seal everything off for Trackside. Her name is Alphabetti. She's trained by Peter Muscat, ridden by Tristan Godden. Now, first time out, this daughter of Twice Over, she was drawn 13 out of 14 at Greyville on the turf over 1400 meters. She was never hustled or bustled to try and get a position. She was just dropped out, left towards the back of the field. She had lots of work to do turning into the straight, and she was one of the runners that caught the eye in a big way. She finished that race in the quickest time. She was fought behind Mshlali. She was just under 3 lengths behind the winner, the horses that had the experience in the field, and it was a tremendous debut performance from her. There's lots of scope for further improvement to come. She looks like a filly that would have come on with that run as well, because that was on the 9th of October, so we'll call it the month from run 1 to run 2. And that form line has held up very well. Sinekele has come out to win and enhance that form line as well in a competitive lineup, as I mentioned. But I think the key to her winning this time around has to be the draw. It's a massive swing around from draw 13 out of 14 to draw 1 out of 10. And I think Alphabetti, well, she looks like the best bet on the card at Greyville on a Sunday. So if we're running in anything, if we're running in everything, she will round it off for us. I'm supremely confident that she'll be very hard to beat, number 1, Alphabetti, on Sunday. So whilst there'll be 2 trebles up on the World Sports Betting menu, my suggestion, guys, is I like our 5 runners that I've picked out. 3 at Turffontein, 1 at Kenilworth, and 1 at Greyville. So I'm telling you to possibly take the 5 to come as well, all to win. And hopefully it turns out to be a wonderful, profitable weekend for Trackside. Again, as always, on behalf of World Sports Betting, thanks to all the punters, but more importantly, and more especially, thanks to you, the valued customer. Have a wonderful weekend. Find all the winners, make a huge profits, and fingers crossed that all 5 win for Trackside over the weekend. Until next week, you take care. Salani Gasle.